Being a conscious and self-aware leader has a beautiful side to it, because you're not in the game for ego gratification. You're in the game because you want to impact the world, and you're leading and creating from a place of love and service. But there is also a downside to this that most leaders are unaware of, and this is preventing you from stepping into your full power and to lead from the most powerful place possible. Because when you look at your personal development journey, and especially at the start, it often starts with you becoming aware of your thoughts and your feelings and how this is influencing you and how to navigate all of this. And this self-awareness leads to self-mastery. And now you experience leaps of progress in your life because of this. But the thing is, you will reach a point where you get stuck, where you run into this invisible wall and you can't seem to move past it. You can't seem to figure out what is blocking me right now. And the breakthrough that you're looking for is often in the place that you don't even consider looking in, which is why it is impossible to figure out all by yourself. And this is where you need to look at the self-awareness piece. Because the self-awareness that supported you in all this growth and this whole journey in your life has now become your prison. And you're not even aware of it. Because I've been coaching leaders now for more than 8 years. I've been running men's groups and men's retreats, and I see the same patterns show up and these hidden traps that they fall into related to the topic of self-awareness and also of service. So that's why in this video, I'll share with you the 5 hidden traps that you must avoid and that are preventing you from tapping into your potential, but also into the powerful leader that you could be. So these hidden traps, they, like I said, are related to self-awareness and also service. So number 1 and 5 are service related, 2, 3, and 4 are more self-awareness related. And if you got number 5 in place, you will solve automatically all the hidden traps that I mentioned in this video, because this is the antidote to all of them. So the first one is the one that I have been challenged with the most recently, which is you're investing too much in the wrong people. So this is a hidden trap related to service that leaders fall into. And recently I felt this anger and frustration come up in my life, and I had no clue where this was coming from. And this was not the type of anger that was helping me and supporting me to become more productive. It was actually distracting me. So that's why I took a step back to see, where is this anger pointing me towards? And I could see that it was pointing me towards at least 5 men that I was invested in because I saw so much potential in them and in that dream. And what I noticed with these men is that their words said one thing, but their actions said something different. So when push came to shove, they ghosted me. They didn't or barely responded to messages. They were saying one thing and were doing the opposite. So this also left me in a place of frustration and confusion, because the way that I experienced this was I was reaching out my hand to support them, to give them everything they needed in this season of their life. And these commitments didn't even involve money or anything like that. So I wanted to help them, and they even gave me a verbal agreement as in, yes, I'm committed. Yes, let's do this. Yes, I'll commit to this. And then they didn't do that. Then they disappeared. And what I felt was, you are lying to me straight in my face. Like, how dare you? And this made me angry, this feeling. But the thing is, it wasn't about them. It was about me. I overextended myself to someone that wasn't ready to receive it and that wasn't ready to change. I was invested more in their dreams than they were themselves. I wanted their dream more for them than they wanted it for themselves. And with this overextending, I was putting myself in a position where I was in a vulnerable position to hurt myself, because I was outsourcing my sense of purpose to someone that hasn't even earned it. And maybe you can see this in your life as well, maybe in your leadership position, but also related to family and friends. When they say they want to change and you want to help them and you see how it's possible and you have even all the tools to support them in a journey, but they're not ready to change. They're not ready to receive it. And this is where you start over-investing. But this over-investing leaves you frustrated, disappointed, angry. And that's why you really need to manage who are you giving your time to. And there are 2 solutions that I often put in place for this. One is that I create hoops that people need to jump through. And these hoops are related to actions. So when people say one thing and I really feel it, I believe in them, I see their potential, I create a hoop with an uncomfortable action or a challenge that they must do before I start to invest more in them. And when they do, okay, then I know that they are serious. But when they say one thing and do the opposite, then I know they're not serious about this. They don't want to change. And maybe I give them a second opportunity or second chance, depending on who they are, where they are at in their life. But when they are not serious about it, then I go to step number 2, which is I create a distance. And this is usually an emotional or mental distance that I need to create, because when I'm investing in them, I'm very close to them. So a distance means they're not serious. So I need to either, like, the way that I visualize this is I cut a tie. I see a line that is connecting us and I need to cut the line. Or I even push them away from me. So when they're close to me in my circle, I push them outside of my circle, far outside of my circle. And this distance also protects my sanity. Because what I notice is if I overinvest in people that are not ready to change, I lose my sanity. And this is something that I need to protect, because just imagine if you give all that mental, emotional, physical energy to the people that are ready to change, because this is what you want to focus on as a leader. And this is something that could get you stuck. So the second hidden trap that leaders fall into is that you talk about the work instead of being changed by the work. So this is where you start to operate in, I know. I understand what change looks like. I understand what transformation looks like. But this understanding is not going to help you to change, because I am so often in sessions with very self-aware individuals, and they share with me, let's say, their problem that they're experiencing. But they don't just share the problem. They share their whole analysis about the problem, all the nuances, where it's coming from, what we need to focus on, and this and that, what they're trying to solve, and you name it. So they've analyzed every single thing. They know how to change. So then I ask them, like, why are you still stuck? You seem to know everything. You seem to understand everything. Why are you stuck? And this is when I get a blank stare, because they don't have an answer to this. Because if you know and if you understand every single thing, then you're not stuck anymore. So there is a piece that is missing here. And it's often in the knowing, in the understanding, because it's all happening up here. When you look at your personal development journey when you started, everything was new for you. It was so exciting. So what was creating the change in that moment? It was the novelty piece. It was, you are a student, you are an open book, you are a blank slate, and every single thing, it touched you. You were immersed in it, you were experiencing it, it was transforming you. But then you reach a stage where, yeah, I know these things. You know all the moving pieces in the equation, so now you operate up here instead of having a complete experience, being transformed by it. And when you operate in knowing, that's when you're not transforming anymore. That's when you don't grow anymore. So the two things that you want to move towards is either experiencing it or embodying it. So when you look at, let's imagine the topic of courage. So you understand that, oh yeah, showing courage is important in your life. And yeah, you need to step outside of your comfort zone. Like, you can understand what this looks like. You can even teach it to people. You can know every single thing about courage, but are you the embodiment of courage? This is what you need to focus on. It's not about right now, even when you're watching this video, it's not about the information that I give you. Are you an embodiment right now of the information that I'm giving you? That's what you need to focus on. So one, are you embodying it, and are you experiencing it? Because experience is the thing that creates transformation. It's not the understanding. Whenever you're stuck in your head and you're thinking and overanalyzing, when you know and understand, that's when I already know you're not going to transform. You're not going to change. You need to experience the transformation. And that's a whole different ballgame. So focus on experience and embodiment instead of knowing and understanding. So that's the trap that self-aware people fall into, because they can see everything and now they move up here. And the third point is also related to this, because you spend more time in reflection instead of action. So you spend more time in introspection instead of creation. And that's the danger when it comes to learning new things and creating all these insights, because it feels so good. It feels productive, and when you're journaling and when you see new things about yourself and about your life, but the feeling productive is not the same as being productive. I always say that if you don't act differently from the insights that you've created, if you don't operate differently in the world, you create differently in the world, you create different results, then it hasn't changed you. So then you're spending too much time in learning and reflecting compared to taking action and creating things in life. Because the deepest insights, they are not created in the mind. They are, again, created in the experience. If you have the opportunity to read about a topic or to experience the topic, you would always choose the experience, because you will learn so many unique, intricate nuances about yourself in that whole topic that you couldn't learn in a book. So this is where the real transformation happens. And this is where, when you are in a leadership position, you can often start to teach things and you start to give advice. But the thing that I want you to look at is, are you an embodiment of that advice? Are you living it? Is the teaching happening by you role modeling the way? So similar to what I shared about the courage topic. So you don't want to reflect on the topic of courage. Are you being courageous? Are you teaching through your embodiment? Is your life a reflection of what you take a stand for? And that's where you want to teach from. That's where you want to show from. Role model the way instead of just talking about it. This is the biggest form of teaching and impact that you can have. If you look at all the people that have impacted your life, these weren't the people that were just talking to you. They were the people that showed the way. They don't just said, yeah, be courageous. They showed you what courage looks like. And you can insert any kind of topic that you want when it comes to this topic of courage. But this is where you want to move outside of the introspection, reflection, learning side, and you want to be more in action and creation. Because the self-awareness, because it feels so good, because you're learning new things, it supported you in the stage of your journey where you didn't know yet. But now that you've learned so much about this piece and you became so self-aware, all of this learning is not supporting you anymore. It is not, let's say, the needle mover that you must focus on. So that's why you want to always spend more time in action and creation. And number 4, this hidden trap is also related to the self-awareness piece and related to number 2 and 3 as well, which is you're creating problems that don't exist. And this one is so fascinating to me because when you have all this understanding and this knowing and this self-awareness, you now have the ability to bring so many things into your awareness. So let's imagine that a feeling comes up. So now you start to overanalyze this feeling. Oh, maybe it's coming from this, or maybe this happened, and I'm thinking this, and maybe I need to go to this part in my past. And now you've created this whole web of where this feeling is coming from and how to resolve it or what to do with it. But the thing is, how do you know that this is correct? How do you know that the conclusion that you've created is the correct one and that's the one that you need to be focusing on? Because when you focus on the correct problem, you would have already solved it. So if you are focusing on solving a problem or you're focusing on a conclusion and you're still stuck, there's a high likelihood that you are focusing on the wrong conclusion. And also, I would say you might be creating problems that don't exist. This happens a lot with self-aware people. Because self-awareness doesn't mean that you're more accurate in the conclusions that you create. The only thing that starts happening is that you become more confident in the conclusions that you create. But because you're so good at spotting patterns right now, you also become very good at manufacturing them. Manufacturing patterns and conclusions that don't even exist. So now you start to solve problems that don't even exist. So this is also the reason why you're stuck. So this is where you are creating a gap between you and your goal, but the gap is just created by you thinking there's a gap. So you can see how complex this can get. So your awareness is actually defending the story that is keeping you stuck and small. And that's where you need to move into questioning it. Because if you already had the right solution, you would already, or the right conclusion and solution, you would have already solved the problem. And this is where you must drop the ego. You must drop the self-awareness and you need to move into the space as in, I don't know, what if all of this is not true? And you need to question it. And that's why point number 5 is so important. Another hidden trap that people fall into is they're doing everything by themselves. You are holding space for others, but you're not being held. Because as a leader, what you often see is that you are caring so much for other people. You are supporting them. You are giving everything of you. You are holding space for them. But the question is also, who is holding you? So yes, you're there for your family. You're there for your colleagues, for your clients, for your whole social circle, the people that you care about. But who is holding you? Where do you go? Where do you have the time and space where you can slow down? Where you can reflect for a moment as in, what is going on in my life? And not just reflect all by yourself, but where you have someone that holds you accountable. Someone that is not just a sounding board, but someone that also challenges you. Do you have a time and space where you go to, a place that you go to with someone that is challenging you to perform at a higher standard that you didn't even know was possible for you? Because this is what most leaders are missing, which is also why they fall into all these other hidden traps. Because you try to figure everything out by yourself. You're so good at caring for others that you forget to care about the most important person, which is you. You need to put yourself first, your self-care. The way that, and it's about your physical health, but also your mental and emotional health. So yes, are you taking care of yourself physically, as in I'm working out, I'm eating healthy, I'm sleeping good, I'm getting my massages or anything like that. But are you also taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally? Is there someone else that's holding space for you? And are you seeking out these environments? Because most leaders, they feel very lonely, is what I noticed. That they don't have, because most people, they rely on them. You carry a lot of weight all by yourself. And you have nowhere to go to carry that weight together with someone. So this is what happens when you start to enter a space like coaching or group coaching or whatever resonates with you. You don't have to carry all this weight by yourself anymore. Life becomes less heavy, but it's also more difficult to seek out these environments because there are so many people that look up to you. There are so many people that can't relate to you and the position that you're in. So that's why it's even more important to find these spaces, to find either a coach, to find a mentor, to find a place, a group that challenges you, a community, an event. It could be anything that is resonating with you in this season of your life, but you need these spaces that hold you, where you can let go for a moment. Because this is what I notice with the clients that I work with. They share this so much with me. The sessions are a space where they can let go because they're focusing on so many things outside of them. And now they finally have the time and space to take care of themselves. And with someone that is also navigating all of these mazes that they've created inside of them, because that's what the self-awareness does. That's the downside to self-awareness. The downside to self-awareness is that you create these mazes inside of your mind and you can't even seem to navigate. You can't seem to get out of it anymore. And that's why you need someone outside of you that helps you to navigate all of this, the internal experience. That's why the caring has also a downside, which is you care so much about other people that you lose your sanity in the process, like point number one, or you forget to take care about the most important person, which is you. So that's the downside in a nutshell, summarized, why these hidden traps are so dangerous and also why they're so important to be aware of, because now you can counter them. And if, especially with the self-awareness traps, if you are unable to counter them yourself, seek out help, seek out guidance. You don't have to carry everything by yourself. You don't have to do it by yourself. And that's why I also created, for example, a men's group where the men come on a call together to work through certain challenges and problems that they're experiencing. They are intentionally joining these group sessions because now they have men they can relate to that are on a similar journey and a similar frequency as they are. And now they can work through their own problems in a time and space that they've dedicated to this. Because when you say, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to schedule it this week, you know that these things are not going to happen. So now they've systemized these, let's call them self-care moments, but also where they're challenged to show up at a higher standard for themselves and for others. So it's not just the introspection piece, but it's really being challenged to perform at a higher level as well, because this is also what you're looking for. So if you're interested to explore this community or to experience it, I'll put a link somewhere below in the description. And also, if you want more personalized guidance when it comes to your transition, maybe that you're in your life, you can also schedule a call with me to explore potentially one-on-one coaching. And in a call like this, we're not even going to talk about a coaching agreement because we first want to get to know each other, see if the energy aligns. And if the energy aligns, of course, we explore what a coaching agreement would look like. But if you want more personalized support and guidance when it comes to your journey that you're in, and especially the transition that you're in into this new chapter of your life, like, I'm here for you. I'll put a link below in the description as well. So these are the 5 hidden traps that you must be aware of, that you must avoid, because this is an invisible wall that you run into, especially the self-awareness ones. These are just invisible. These are impossible to figure out. So yeah, I'm curious if you have maybe different traps that came up in your life when you're leading. I would love to hear them in the comments below. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And I'll see you in the next video.